Hi everyone, I'm Dr. Christina Williams and I'm here with the second lesson in Foundations for Literacy 3. Last week we learned that AW says "aw" like you're petting a really cute puppy. Today we're going to learn about Bossy R. Now what you need to know is we've already decided that when we see an AR, we usually make the sounds R like a pirate. And when we see OR, we say or. OR says or like Oreos. And today we're going to change something a little bit because maybe you've even seen in words around you words that did not follow those rules. So we're going to address those. We started with the most common spellings and sounds, and now we're going to delve into a little more, well, it's pretty common. You'll see them all over the place, especially now that you've had this lesson. But we're going to learn about Bossy R. Bossy R's don't work nearly as often as AR usually does say R, and OR usually does say or. But sometimes AR just says Sometimes OR just says The way we begin classes, we usually say, do you know anyone? Do you have a friend or a relative, someone who might just be a little bit bossy? Think about that one. Is there someone who bosses you around from time to time? They say if you can't think of someone, you're probably the bossy one. Anyway, when we delve into today's lesson, we're going to talk about Bossy R. And a Bossy R tells the vowels to hush and to say Just let the R do the talking. So in this word, I have the word It's H-E-R. My second graders, when we first start second grade, when they try to spell the word her, they might just do H-R. That's it. But we learned that every single word has to have a vowel. In fact, every single syllable of every single word has to have a vowel. So we know there must be a vowel in there. It's just being bossed by an R. Now the chances are, if the R is being bossy, it's an E that's being bossed. Most of the time, that's what happens. So if you're taking a gamble and you're spelling a word and you're not sure, go with ER, saying But there are others, like in this word, ert. It's a U that's being bossed. I don't hear an it just says And then I want you to notice this bottom word. It says sp. It's got a magic E that's jumping over and telling that I to say its name, sp, I, d. But then that R is being bossy to the E. The E can still do magic, but it's being bossed by the R. It says spider. So remember, a bossy R tells the vowel to sh. Let me make my sound Now, to bring this lesson along a little bit more, I have a book called Wemberly Worried. It's by Kevin Henkes. And if you want to gather your kids around, I'll read the book for you right now. Wemberly Worried by Kevin Henkes. Wemberly worried about everything. Big things, little things, and things in between. Wemberly worried in the morning, she worried at night, and she worried throughout the day. You worry too much, said her mother. When you worry, I worry, said her father. Worry, 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 said her grandmother. Too much worry. At home, Wemberly worried about the tree in the front yard, about the crack in the living room wall, and the noise the radiators made. At the playground, Wemberly worried about the chains on the swings and the bolts on the slide and the bars and the jungle gym. And always she worried about her doll, Petal. Don't worry, said her mother. Don't worry, said her father. But Wemberly worried. She worried and worried and worried. When Wemberly was especially worried, she rubbed Petal's ears. Wemberly worried that if she didn't stop worrying, Petal would have no ears left at all. On her birthday, Wemberly worried that no one would come to her party. See, said her mother, there was nothing to worry about. But then Wemberly worried that there wouldn't be enough cake. This girl. On Halloween, Wemberly worried that there would be too many butterflies in the neighborhood parade. See, said her father, there was nothing to worry about. But then Wemberly worried because she was the only one. You worry too much, said her mother. When you worry, I worry, said her father. Worry, 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 said her grandmother. Too much worry. Soon, Wemberly had a new worry, school. Wemberly worried about the start of school more than anything she had ever worried about before. By the time the first day arrived, Wemberly had a long list of worries. What if no one else has spots? What if no one else wears stripes? What if no one else brings a doll? What if the teacher's mean? What if the room smells bad? What if they make fun of my name? What if I can't find the bathroom? What if I hate the snack? What if I have to cry? Don't worry, said her mother. Don't worry, said her father. But what'd she do? Wemberly worried. She worried and worried and worried. She worried all the way there. While Wemberly's parents talked to the teacher, Mrs. Peachum, Wemberly looked around the room. Then Mrs. Peachum said, Wemberly, there is someone I think you should meet. Her name was Jewel. She was standing by herself. She was wearing stripes. She was holding a doll. At first, Wemberly and Jewel just peeked at each other. This is Petal, said Wemberly. This is Niblet, said Jewel. Petal waved. Niblet waved back. Hi, said Petal. Hi, said Niblet. I rub her ears, said Wemberly. I rub her nose, said Jewel. Throughout the morning, Wemberly and Jewel sat side by side and played together whenever they could. Petal and Niblet sat side by side too. Wemberly worried, but no more than usual, and sometimes even less. Before Wemberly knew it, it was time to go home. Come back tomorrow, called Mrs. Peachum as the students walked out the door. Wemberly turned and smiled and waved. I will, she said. Don't worry. This girl telling someone else not to worry. What in the world? Well, Wemberly may have worried a little bit less, and today, when you see a bossy R, you are not going to worry at all. I went through the book Wemberly Worried and found lots of words that have bossy R's, and I just made them bigger and blacker and bossier so that you would recognize them. So if I make the sounds here, I would think it would say worry. I know longer words that end with a Y. The Y usually says E, like my name, Christy. And your mom, if you call her mommy, the Y says E. Now, if it's a really short little word, the Y says I, like in by, like this book was by Kevin Henkes. Now, knowing that, and there'll be a whole lesson about that coming up, but for now you need to know, I want you to look at these other words. They all have a bossy R. I showed the bossy R by making it, again, big and bold, and you'll see that it does dominate those vowels. Now, you might want to pause here just for a minute because a vowel is the only letter that can be bossed by an R. So let's review. What are the vowels? Old MacDonald had some vowels. A, E, I, O, U. Those are the letters that can be bossed by an R. So an AR usually says R, but sometimes AR just says ER says IR says OR usually says or, but sometimes it just says and UR says These are examples that I pulled right from the book. So you can look at this paper and try decoding mother. That's mother. You're right. So in this book, Wemberly's mother and father and grandmother, they all told her, you worry too much. Remember? All these words, again, come from that book. Now, we're going to put that aside, and I have another something I want you to get out of your envelope. So we have these headers. They have AR saying ER that says IR that says OR that says and UR that says I've also given you in that same baggie, you'll find lots of small word cards, and they have Bossy R words. So your job is to take your pointer finger, both of those have Bossy R's, and you're going to look for the R and say to yourself, that vowel is not going to say anything, I bet. So we'll make the sound fur. Now, if I were beginning second grade, I might spell it F-R, but it has to have a vowel, and in the word fur, the vowel is U. So I'm just going to place that word card underneath the U. And this helps me to remember this sorting is a really great bit of brain work where I'm processing and really being cognitive, or I'm really thinking about which vowel is being bossed. It's going to help me with my reading, but more so it will help me with spelling. Now here's another one, dirt. That doesn't make a word. So Bossy R. I bet the I doesn't say it. It's dirt. Can you see that word? Dirt. Yeah, so the I is the one being bossed. I want you to go through the rest of the words and think about the sounds. Remember that R is probably being bossy, and you're going to place the words underneath the word cards. Now, to make this a little bit more fun, I have included in your kit a piece of construction paper and also the Bossy R rule reminder. So it says, R says shh. Don't make any of your sounds, Val. Let me do all of the talking. So bossy. Now what you're going to do is you're going to take these stickers. There are 3 sheets of stickers, and what you're going to do is place these dot stickers all around the perimeter of the board. Now here's the thing. Use the word perimeter. When I say perimeter, you say outside edge. Perimeter, outside edge. Perimeter. Did you say outside edge? Yes, that's a mathematical term. We want you to know what that means so that you'll be ready in any given situation. So we have stickers that we're going to place one by one all around the perimeter or the outside edge of your game board. Now, we're going to put these words back into a stack. In fact, you can make it a big bowl of words. And here's what you do. You have to earn the right to roll. So I'm going to try to give the illusion of having spots right there in my game board. So let's say you have a bowl full of these word cards. You have to earn the right to roll your die. So if my mover is here and I roll a 3, I don't get to move yet. I don't get to do that. First I have to, let me get a different card I haven't read yet. So I'm going to make the sounds. Dollar. Yeah, dollar. I've got $1. Now what's being bossed in the word dollar? It's an A. I don't hear the A saying at all. So now I've read the word, I've decoded it, I've placed it under the AR. Now I've earned the right to roll. So I go 1, 2, 3. Now I get to choose another word. I'll reach in the bowl, pull it out. Let's see, can you decode this word with me? First. Yeah, it's first. Which vowel is being bossed? I don't hear a single vowel sound, but there's one there. It has to be there. It's an I. So I place it here. Once it's placed, I've earned the right to roll. So I roll my die and I move again around my game board. Play continues until you're exhausted, or until your parents say, that's it, it's time to put it away, or until you have run out of word cards. Now, once you have finished, you can put those words back in the bowl or back in your baggie, wherever you choose. But we always want to take it from decoding back to encoding. So you can read the words. That's a piece of cake for you now. As soon as you get finished, you'll trust me. Trust me, you'll see. But the next thing is to spell it. And here's the hard part. For almost every class we've had so far, every lesson we've had so far, you could hear the sound and you could spell the sound you're hearing. In this practice, you don't hear it. You won't know what vowel it is listening to the sounds. This is one lesson where you just absolutely have to remember. And that's why we do this work of sorting, so that you're bringing it to the top of your mind. When I said dollar, there was an A there that I didn't hear. When I said first, you can remember this one because you can say, I was in first grade, or even for third, I was in third grade. They're both IR. You can remember the word world because it has the shape of our planet Earth, and it's an O that's being bossed. So teach yourself ways to remember. And then when it comes time for the spelling practice, you've got some tips and tricks that'll help you to decide which way exactly will you spell that word. Now, I'll give you a hint. For kids, we need you to know that grown-ups sometimes say, I'm not really sure which one it is. Sometimes, and parents, you tell your kids if this is true, we have to write the word, look at it, and say, that doesn't look right. And then we switch it or flip it to a different vowel. It happens all the time. Maybe not with Bossy R, but other things. We write it one way and we say, that doesn't look right. And we have some grace for ourselves. We just erase and flip it to another way it could be spelled. The more we look at Bossy R words, the more we notice what we're seeing, the more inclined we are to remember. That's why people who read a lot are often very good spellers. Now, you're going to take about 4 or 5 word cards, and your mom will say the word, and they'll say, your mom or dad, one of them, someone who loves you will say, spell the word, I'll do one, spell the word birds. Now, the first thing you're gonna do, you're not gonna even get your pencil ready to write. You're gonna say, I think it is, which one do you think it is? AR? That's less likely. ER is almost always the one that's bossed. But I've done a really good job making sure we had some of all of them, so you can't count on that. I think it's IR. I think I've seen the word birds and it's an I. Then what you do is you say, okay, Mom, I think it's an IR. And so you're going to put your pencil right here as if you're ready to write, but you don't write it yet. Then your mom will say, you're right. It is an I in birds that gets bossed. Then she'll remove the word you're not looking at anymore, and you make the sounds B, remember that I, D, S, and you'll write it, and then you'll double check what you wrote with the word card your mom drew. Are you with me? You'll continue that way for about 4 or 5 words. Now, there is an extension activity I'm going to offer for you to do, and here's how it goes. First thing, you're gonna need, once you learn to do this, you're gonna love it. You're gonna fold 2 pieces of white copy paper in half. Then you're gonna take one of those copy papers out and do a quick snip, maybe 2.5 inches, I would say. 2 to 2.5 inches right into your paper. So it kind of looks like this. I cut on the fold, and now it looks like a pair of shorts. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open it up, and I'm going to push my finger through that hole I made, and you can see how I'm kind of manipulating the paper. So I'm folding it back against itself. It's a little tricky, but what we're going to do is make a pop-up. Now I'm going to do the same thing the other way. I'm going to reach my thumb in right on that fold and try to make it fold the opposite way. I've made it look so easy because I've done this hundreds, maybe thousands of times by now. Then what you do is you take that paper you just folded and you put it inside the paper that you did not cut. And then you have this like bird beak that you see here. Doesn't it look like it's talking to you? Well, you might be familiar with this bird, pigeon. I bet you are. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make pigeon say some words. Now, very rarely do you see pigeon with 2 eyeballs, but because ours is facing head on, we want our bird to have 2 eyeballs. I'm going to show you an example one of my students did. It looks like this. Now, he made this pigeon so cute. The only thing it's missing is its word bubbles. So in your kit, you can, or even any purple paper, you can, and I picked purple because it's a Bossy R in purple, but you're gonna make a word bubble and you're gonna make the bird say some crazy words like, I saw that worm first, or it might just say burp. It could say any words that have a Bossy R. And I will include some words for you to look at. I thought these would be some fun ones that you might choose, like it's the worst, or yes, sir, or ooh, that's perfect. Lots of Bossy R's words that you could use to make your bird say some words that are entertaining. Now, I think that's it for our class today. I hope you have lots of fun. Remember, with Bossy R, you just have to try to remember how to spell it. Any vowel can be bossed. Usually, AR says R. Usually, OR says or, like Oreos. But all of the vowels can be bossed by that Bossy R. Have fun.